Right now, Ian Castleberry with the Wise Guys. It is our Major League Baseball update via the DC Creasman Jewelers Wise Lines. Ian, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
Oh, I'm good. You must be busy today, huh?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, man. Ian works hard. We're so glad you're able to play with us when you can on Mondays and Thursdays. Of course, it is our baseball update today, and let's start first with the Mets releasing Robinson Cano, and in doing so, the team eats $45 million still owed to Robbie. Ian, the two different suspensions for PED certainly set Cano back, but were there other issues that plagued Cano during his time in Queens?
Not really. I mean, it's just a question of him not being able to hit. Of course, he was the entire 2021 season due to the PED suspension, as you mentioned. But from all accounts, Cano was a good presence in the clubhouse. He was popular with teammates. Francisco Lindor was among those who didn't want the Mets to designate Cano for assignment and thought he was still worth keeping around. But I think this speaks to Steve Cohen, the Mets' new owner, really not blinking. Well, maybe he did blink, but really ultimately signing off on releasing Robinson Cano when he's still owed. Well, he was set to be paid $45 million between this season and next, but I think he's still set to be paid about $38 million. So batting 195 isn't a good defensive player anymore. He really just had no part on the team, and especially when the Mets can put younger, more productive players in that designated hitter spot, Dominic Smith, J.D. Davis, Luis Guillorme, not to mention Jeff McNeil playing really well at second base. There just really wasn't a place for Cano on the Mets roster anymore.
Wow, I mean, and it's like, well, we owe him $45 million. Let's keep him on the roster anyway. But it was to that point where, wow, that was my first thought, Ian. It's like, God, they owe him $45 million and they still let him go. But hey, the Browns owe Baker Mayfield $19 million. And he's still with the team. Maybe they should do what the Mets do and just let him go and be done with it and move on. All right, so there you have with Robbie Cano. Ian, do you think this is this? I got to think this is it for his career. No team's going to pick up a $45 million contract unless the Mets pay most of it.
Well, another team won't have to pay that now. The Mets are on the hook for that because he did clear waivers.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
No team traded for him. No team picked him off waivers for that very reason. They didn't want to pay $38 million remaining. So he probably, I think he's done. I mean, he's got an outside shot at 3,000 hits. He's around 2,630. If some team wants to sign him, mostly for being the team that he's on when he gets 3,000 hits, that's a possibility. There might be some teams that are willing to give him a shot as a designated hitter, especially in the American League where Cano has played most of his career. I've seen some rumblings that maybe the Red Sox or even the White Sox could take a shot at Cano, but he just doesn't look like an effective major league hitter anymore.
Sad, man, because he was a player in his prime for sure. Ian, let me ask you this: what do you make of COVID kind of sneaking back into Major League Baseball?
I think it's a reflection of the culture at large. I mean, we're kind of seeing COVID numbers go up here, but just as we as a culture are relaxing restrictions with masks and so forth, so is Major League Baseball. They've relaxed almost all of their COVID protocols. Players don't have to wear masks. Personnel don't have to wear masks in the dugout or around team facilities. There's not regular testing anymore unless anyone is symptomatic. So I think it's just because of those relaxed protocols, players are free to go out when they're on the road, especially, they're in planes, but, they're going to restaurants, bars, hotels, et cetera. They're not kept in bubble environments anymore. So, and we don't know who is and isn't vaccinated among players. Now, presumably most players are vaccinated, but if there are some who aren't, they have a chance of infecting their teammates. So I think it's just baseball's following the culture at large, I think, here.
Got you on that, and just kind of keeping tabs on that. It's like, wow, baseball, this has been nice. Oh, boom, like, Rocco Baldelli, the Twins manager, among those getting COVID. And yeah, we'll see. It's going to be interesting. Hopefully the summer months, maybe that eases a little bit. It remains to be seen. Ian Castleberry writes for Barrett Sports Media. He is also with the Wise Guys Mondays talking Major League Baseball headlines and on the DC Creasman Jewelers Wise Lines. So, Ian, this is the first season of the National League having a full-time designated hitter. We're all excited. I think most of us were kind of bored with, oh, great, here comes the pitcher. But that's not the case in the National League. So 1 month in to the DH in the National League, how are the DHs faring?
They're not faring that well. Collectively, the National League designated hitters have a 231 average, a 630 OPS, which is the lowest among all positions on National League rosters. But that's still better than, you compare that to pitchers last year. Pitchers were batting a collective 110, a 293 OPS. So those designated hitter is an improvement between a pitcher just flailing away or not being able to lay down a bunt. But this is reflective also about offense is down across Major League Baseball so far this season. The fewest average runs scored per team since 1981. Again, a 231 average through 1 month of the season is the lowest it's ever been in Major League Baseball history. The collective OPS across Major League Baseball 678, that's the lowest since 1968. And home runs are way down. So what can that be attributed to? Most people are pointing to the new baseballs. They're wound less tightly. Every team keeps their baseballs in a humidor now, which reduces the humidity on the baseball. And so far, that seems to have had an effect on how well the balls carry. There are several players who say, I know I cranked that ball and it was caught at the warning track. Or, players are so cognizant now of launch angle and exit velocity, and they look at what the launch angle and exit velocity is on a ball they hit, and those numbers indicate that the ball should have gone out. But again, they're staying in the ballpark. So typically runs increase as the weather warms up. Also, Major League rosters right now can carry more pitchers. During the first month of the season, Major League Baseball allowed teams to carry more pitchers, anticipating that there would be issues with the shorter spring training. So offense is likely to be on the rise, and with that, maybe designated hitters' performance will be better. But so far, adding a universal DH, National League, no longer batting pitchers, hasn't had a positive effect on offense.
Gotcha. And we'll follow that for sure. I thought that was interesting when I saw it. And of course, my first thought is gotta get this, gotta get with Ian on this. Ian, before we let you go, let's talk umpires. First, the Kyle Schwarber issue, then Mad Bum. Are Major League Baseball umpires kind of copying an attitude, or at least certain ones?
There are some who seem to feel that fans pay tickets or buy tickets, pay these prices to see them umpire, not to see players play. Joe West retired, so with him, I think, goes a lot of the umpire show. Angel Hernandez is an example. You mentioned Kyle Schwarber. I don't know if Angel Hernandez is a look at me, watch me umpire as much as he's just a terrible umpire with no concept of the strike zone. But this incident with Madison Bumgarner and Dan Bellino last Wednesday night was bizarre because Bumgarner apparently started things that he had an issue with the home plate umpire, Ryan Wills. He didn't like a couple of what he thought should have been strike three calls, but they were called balls. And so as he came off the mound at the end of the first inning, he had some words for the home plate umpire, but then he also had to get checked for sticky substance before going to the dugout. And while he was getting checked, Dan Bellino, if you haven't seen the video, it's online. I can post it on Facebook and Twitter. Bellino is examining Madison Bumgarner's left hand, checking it for a sticky substance, but taking kind of an uncomfortably long time doing it, just kind of pressing here, touching here, feeling the hand. But the whole time, he's not looking down at Bumgarner's hand. He's looking right at Bumgarner, trying to make eye contact. And to me, and to many, it looked like Bellino was itching for a confrontation. And the whole circumstance was taking so long that apparently Bumgarner eventually said something.
And I don't know if that apparently that is not why he was ejected. He was ejected for what he said to the home plate umpire, but Bellino acted as if he was just waiting for Bumgarner to say something before tossing him from the game. And a few days later, Bellino apologized for that ejection, admitted that he went overboard and maybe crossed the line there, but still, it's a video of an umpire apparently acting like, itching for a confrontation and maybe acting as if he's the attraction, not the players.
Yeah, we had Chris Smith on before you. He was scratching his head as well. I had no idea why that was even an issue, why that was brought up. And, it just seems, these are rare issues. That's why you kind of like, all right, is this all this is, kind of an anomaly, or, are umpires as a whole just kind of getting tired of it and getting tired of getting, harassed by fans and getting yelled at and cursed at by players that, that they're unable to, I don't know, some of them are just unable to handle this, but it was interesting. And Joe West, God, you had to bring him up. That's right. And he was the guy that thought the game revolved around him. We'll see where it goes. Ian Castleberry writes for Barrett Sports Media, also content editor as well. He keeps busy, and of course, with the Wise Guys Mondays here on the show to run down baseball headlines. And all right, so that's a wrap, Ian. Thank you so much, man. We appreciate you, and I know you're busy, and we'll let you get back at it.
Okay, thanks so much, Pat.
You
Great
bet.
talking to you.
Always, man, a treat.